Hello everyone. Now if you are a recording engineer watching this video, what about if I was to tell you that you could take the recording that you have and make it sound more like the recording you wish you were able to create? Now as a producer, what about, because I know there's a lot of producers on this channel, what if I was to tell you that there is a plugin that may be able, right, for you to take those recordings and create a rough for the mixing engineer that is pre-mixed in a way that you can genuinely say to the mixing engineer, this is the sound and the direction of the record. This is kind of how we want this record to sound. And then as a mixing engineer, what if I was to tell you that you were able to take the rough that's been given to you from the recording engineer or the producer and stick a plugin on every single track, be able to pre-mix the entire record in the sound that you want, okay? You were able to take the stems, right, okay, the stems are okay, but what if the stems sounded a little bit more analog, had a little bit more vibe to them, a little bit more punch, a little bit more low end in the kick, a little bit more bottom end in the snare, kind of maybe more low mids, so it kind of sounded a little bit thicker, okay? What if I was to tell you there's a plugin that can give you those tonal options before you've even touched FabFilter, okay? Before you've even touched the compressor, okay? This is what I'm going to show you today. You're not going to find much talking in this one because I want you to listen to the sounds of this plugin. Acustica Audio Blond Pre Mixer. Mixing Wednesdays, Paul 3rd. Let's do it. Right, okay, so Acustica Audio Blond. In a nutshell, you have a collection of very rare and vintage EQs and preamps, okay? So let's look at the first one, okay? So you've got the Binson. Now, I don't know if I've said it right. Now, for anybody that doesn't know, you've got the Binson Echo Rec. That's what you'll know Binson for, okay? If you're a Led Zeppelin fan, a Jimmy Page fan, a guitarist, you'll know exactly what an Echo Rec is. Now, Binson also made an 18-channel console disc, okay? Now, Acustica has sampled all 18 channels, and there's a lot of different linear frequency responses, okay? That'll kind of show you up here. So as you kind of go along, there's a lot of analog non-linearities and tolerances within each channel, which is pretty cool. You normally find stuff like Camel and stuff that they're kind of roughly the same, but there is kind of very kind of big tolerances in terms of the lows and the highs and the way that the linear frequency response changes, okay? So let's just get straight into it, and I'll kind of show you the first 8 or 9 preamps. It's no point going through the 18 of them, but let's kind of just show you the different kind of tonal variances of the Binson preamps. Okay, it's pretty cool again, but then a lot of people will say to me, Paul, you've got the TMT and Plug-in Alliance. It's like, it's kind of really doing that. You get like lots of great analog tolerances in the TMT. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I get that. That's a fair comment. Now, where the pre-mixer, okay? Because obviously this is just a pre that I've just shown you. It's not a pre-mixer. Now we're about to get into the pre-mixer. Now, what if I was to tell you, okay, that you've got custom pre's with their own custom 2-band EQs, lows and highs. So you've got 5 2-band custom EQs to go with the pre's, okay? And all of these pre's and EQs all kind of are different forms of analog, okay? So first off, you've got the APX, which is solid state. You've got the AVX, right? And you've got 2 versions of it, okay? Which is a vintage tube, okay? And they've given you 2 AVXs because I think they're based on 2 different, I think it's maybe 2 different tubes, and the linear frequency responses are very, very, very different. And then you've got the MZI, which is an all-transistor preamp and EQ, and then you've got the Binson. Now, a Binson has a 3-band EQ, lows, mids, and highs, okay? Let's just keep it as simple as that. Now, let's just stick to the pre's first. We'll go into the EQs, which is where this comes into light. Now, just listen to the tonal variances and the linear frequency responses of these different custom pre's, okay? I'm quite excited for you to listen to this, okay? So this is the custom pre's. Okay, so a lot of different tonal variances there, okay? Now, how about we start then playing about with these 2-band EQs? This is where this comes into light. I can't wait for you to hear this, okay? This is the same bass, exact same bass. I've tried to keep the levels as close as physically possible, okay? Just listen to the different analog vibes that you get from each one. Again, all different linear frequency responses, all different frequency boosts as well. Let's just let the audio do the talking. Listen to what these 2-band EQs add in conjunction with the pre's. All of these are different forms of analog. I think they just sound amazing, and they all have these different tonal characteristics. You can just genuinely scroll through the options, you can mix and match the pre's, and what I do is I generally just go, right, say like maybe 2 o'clock, and then I just play about and go, yes, that's giving me the sound that works in this mix, okay? And then from there you can just tweak the lows and the highs. And what I love about it is there's no mixing involved. There's no mixing, there's no frequencies in your head. All you're doing is using your ears, and you're just making tweaks. And it's really intuitive and it's very creative, and I love it because what you're doing is you're basically carving the sound that you want this record to have, okay? So that's just on one instrument, okay? Now how about we do it on a drum kit? Let's just say it's me taking the original drums from my debut single and adding each to the drums. So we've got kick, snares, overheads and rooms, okay? Now what I've done is I've just used the ones that I thought kind of sounded best. I played about with it myself, and again I'll have some of the settings that I used as well. So again, without further ado, let's just hear what the pre-mixer does on the drums individually. So I'll show them individually, and then we'll show them compared to the dry drums, and then with the drums with the pre-mixer engaged. Just listen to this. just sounds great. You might completely disagree with me. This is not going to be for everybody. I understand it. But I just kind of want to give you an idea of the way my head works. The pre-mixing thing completely works for me. In a nutshell for me, what's great about it is I can take an entire mix and from the off, I'll have an idea of what I want. And again, the band or artist might say to you, this is the kind of sound that we're kind of thinking about for this song. And again, what's great as a producer, you can give that to the mixer. You could be with the artist, right? And you could be like, right, okay, right, I'm not a mixing engineer. How about we kind of get a rough sound of how we want it to sound? And it's so intuitive, and you just go, bum, 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 in the context of the mix, just play about with them, just play about, quick tweaks, lows, highs, and before you know it, you can give that mixing engineer exactly the direction that you want to take that record. I think it sounds great. In terms of analog, it sounds analog to me. The punch, there must be clippers or something in there. I'm going to say that. There must be some form of clipping, because there's no compression in there. But there's these different vibes of analog, and there's transistor, there's solid state. I can hear all of that, and the linear frequency responses are crazy. And the fact you can mix and match. I kept the pre's with the EQs. You can mix and match. Think about it this way. You can actually do a secondary rough. Somebody gives you a rough and they go, this is the kind of the vibe, I'm thinking this, that and that. You can do like a first rough without any subtractive EQ compression, nothing else, and just go, right, is this kind of what you're thinking of? Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm thinking of. And then from there, you have got, right, the perfect foundations to then build that mix and then start doing subtractive EQ and then basically take that and just refine it. And there it comes into mixing and it's refining. So this whole pre-mixing idea makes absolute sense in my head. I was able to muck about in the context of the mix and just go, let's make the snare a little bit more thicker. Let's take out a little bit of top end. Let's change the sound of the kick. Let's make it a little bit more pokey. It's just, there's so many different tonal vibes and it's all analog to me. It sounds analog to me. It sounds like 3D and it's got depth and it's just really cool. It's not for everybody, okay? I get it. A lot of people will like have a certain mix and setup. That's absolutely fine. For me, it's a game changer for what I want to do. I'm a creative person. I've got a certain sound and that's kind of my niche and I like things to sound a certain way. I'm autistic, okay? So I'm kind of on that kind of CLA vibe, but it's like, if you want like a refinement, then go for a different engineer. If you want a CLA sound, you go to CLA. If you want a JGP sound, then you go to JGP. If you want a Brouwer sound, then you go for Michael Brouwer. If you see it in a creative context before you do anything to give you the perfect foundations for a mix, I think you can't go wrong with this. And I think lots of different other plugin manufacturers should take the idea of this and expand upon it even further. It's like taking the idea of a 1073 and completely expanding it and just giving you like so much more tonal options. I love it. I love the idea of it. I love the sound of it. The compressors I'm not like mad on, but this pre-mixer is just my first proper chef kiss of 2021. Goes to the Acustica Blond Pre Mixer. Try it out for yourself if you don't believe me. Have fun with it and try and use it just for your rough. Again, I'm talking recording engineers, producers, mixing engineers. Honestly, right, I can see a use for it for like all parts of like the recording, producing and mixing process. There you go. That's me for today. Like and subscribe as always. There's a join button down below, so if you want to get more into my mucked up audio geekness brain and just kind of dive further into the stuff that goes through this head every week, then again, click the join button. You can have more input into Mixing Wednesdays as well. You can also check me out on Patreon and you can help me invest in analog versus digital shootouts as well. So thank you very much for your time as always, guys, and I'll see you again soon.